So like I was with a group of people called the Benjeli in Africa, and I was with the anthropologists Jerome and Ingrid Lewis, who feature in the film I made, so I was with these guys, and there was this and the men in the group pointed to another guy the other side of the village to say, see that guy there, he's the best hunter. We know he's the best hunter. We hunt elephant. He's got a big wooden stake. He runs out first and he sticks it in the belly. We come in after with the spears and stuff. But like, he's the man. But a couple of years ago, he started showing off that he was the man. So of course we had to stop going hunting with him. And the women refused to cook his food because we just can't be allowing that. We know we're different. Everyone's different. So we accept that he is the leader in that sense momentarily. And we see that, and we know that he has this great capacity, but he doesn't get any more credit or value for that. It's just, that's his bit. And then other times people will have their own moment when they can shine, but no one, you're not allowed to show off. You're not allowed to accumulate more. You're not allowed to get any more. You're not allowed to any of that. And then also the female section of the group probably aren't choosing for that either. So they're not trying to choose the competitive winners like we are on our side.
Well, that's amazing, because that is one of the things we are told is innate, that evolution favours these traits. It's interesting that it's even possible to prohibit the fetishization of certain roles, that a culture or a tribe is capable of saying, it is good the way you stab that elephant, but we value other stuff as well. Don't get carried away with it, because when I think about how much in my own life I've sort of self-worshipped, fetishized, like, I can do this, I'm good at this, like, you know, but I'm aware and have been taught well enough now to recognize, oh, how lucky you are that you live in a culture that values, firstly, you know, your sort of socio-economic status, your gender, sex status, your racial status. Comedy, luckily, is a thing that people are willing to pay money for.
Yeah.
You know, like it's, and of course our civilization is, in a sense, like you again described with the military, a series of these hierarchies and these lenses that favor and continually bias towards certain traits and value. In like using your elephant anecdote and indeed experience, you couldn't have nurses are paid this, but the financial wizards are paid this, and Jeff Bezos earns that. You know, it'd be like, well, Jeff, it's great the way you run Amazon, but calm yourself down.
So many things, when you start looking at the world through that prism, fall away. You know, like the powerful, like the older man getting the younger girl, and all of that as well. It's like, why? Because he's powerful in our society, because he has accumulated, or because he has. And again, all of these things just start dissipating when everyone has shared ownership. Everyone is seen as and unique, but no one is more than. And that
I mean, that's beautiful and brilliant, and it makes sense to me. And I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, Jeff Krasno, who runs the Commune, a website that does lots of courses on well-being, who you would, I think, benefit from meeting. He said, just because we're utopian, we don't have to give up our cynicism. We can still be circumspect and still consider things sort of carefully, even if we've got a high ideal, like an egalitarian, equal society. Now, but for example, you cited Jordan Peterson, who I've met a couple of times and actually found to be a very lovely man, as a matter of fact. But the example, like the lobster example, which is essentially underwriting hierarchies and power struggles through biology. Even in the example you cited of the older male with the younger female, the way that I suppose that would be biologically underwritten is, well, you know, men remain fertile into their 70s, women go through menopause much earlier than that, men have an imperative to pursue certain mating strategies, and women have an imperative to be more selective with their mates than males. You know, so I suppose what those biological arguments are often used to do is to declare certain things natural and therefore, I suppose, right and unchallengeable. But you're saying there are examples of societies where there are different values, where it's possible to go, well, even though this dude's good at killing elephants, we're not going to let him like nick all the food or beat other people up or have sex with everyone. You know,
totally.
It's possible.
And I think I think that is it in a nutshell. It's like we definitely have drives, and we can definitely look at our physiology, and we can say that it would make sense that men would act in this way as a result of them having millions of sperm and women having one, selective eggs. And ergo, that is just within us. And of course, that is within us. but we are social beings, and we have different forces at play in how we decide to create society. And if we all just act purely out of those, then certain type of behavior might arise. And what they've decided upon, and I think for the vast majority of our time, this is probably how it was, is that didn't serve them the best.
Yeah, right. I wonder what happened. I wonder when they realised, hey, it's not cool to have someone do it.
Well,
and do they have literal stories that go...
Well, so, I mean, like, the plot thickens. It's like, I mean, it's so fascinating. This is by far the most interesting thing that I've ever discovered in all of my journeys. So I basically, and I have to give credit to the anthropologists that really enlightened me about this. There's Jerome and Ingrid Lewis in particular, and Chris Knight and Camilla Power from the Radical Anthropology Group, who have meetings in London quite often, and they
Just telling Jen to note them, make a note of those names.
Yeah, please. Jen. Yeah, no, their work is phenomenal, and so Jerome and Ingrid Lewis took me to a group that they've been studying now for decades, called the Benjeli people in the Congo, and so this is like one of the oldest, like most, let's say, unbroken lineages of humans on the planet, if we did come from Southern Africa and all the rest of it. And so here's a group of people that could potentially give us an insight into really old stories, really old myths. And it just so happens that they have a particular narrative myth that is reenacted through song and dance that they say is their earliest story of how humans became human and how they created society. And I was able to be a part of this and watch this and sort of go behind the scenes and be with the men for this. And what basically, in a nutshell, what it seems that's happening, and they don't say it explicitly like this, but their words kind of definitely don't negate this idea, is what it is a reenactment of the moment when the women said no to the alpha male and invited the other men to come in and live with them in society, provided that they let go at the door their competitive, aggressive ways and came and lived alongside them in a society of equals. And that is a reenactment that you still see with this, basically this phallic spirit of the forest that comes out and is spinning around and the men come in and basically keep this thing away from the women, and the women are like, this is the spirit by which we were once pregnant, but now the men are protecting us from that, and it's banished back out into the forest, and we're all now living in harmony. And I mean, it's kind of quite interesting.
That's pretty powerful, isn't it? So it's like there's a force of dominance and domination that subjugated the feminine principle, but the males, when bonded, can create an equal, fair society that is not determined on the base. I mean, it's a pretty sort of complex, but also, I don't know, primal. Again, I noticed that these words have got some interesting baggage, but it seems, I don't know, pure, elemental. Thanks for watching this podcast and going all the way to the end of it. Would you so kind as to click the bell? It might not be there, because they're over there. And subscribing so that we can infiltrate your serenity and peace of mind.